It's another cold Wednesday here in the Northeast. Although I think we are in double digits for temperature, so maybe we'll consider it a heat wave. So, our icebreaker for today. If you were an egg for the week, a raw egg, yes. Okay. I want to know who on this team right here you would not allow to care for you and why, and who you would allow to care for you. All right, bring it on, Laura, Dora.
Okay, I'm really sorry about this. I would not allow Charisma to take care of me. Why? And I only say that because I'm the one who's the egg, and I would also not allow me to take care of me. I barely let myself take care of me as a human.
Okay.
Um, the person I would is Michelle,
Ooh,
obviously.
I
I don't
love
know
it.
what else to say other than that. Do I need to qualify this with reasons?
I mean, not unless either of them want reasons.
You don't need reasons. You already know.
Okay. All right. Dora.
I was gonna say, if I was an egg, I wouldn't let you or Michelle take care of me, so I wouldn't be forgotten, or left in the microwave or something. And then,
You know what? That's totally fair.
and then,
But Dora, I would just put sticky notes everywhere and reminders, and I would not forget, and then you'd be fine.
I mean, that's a good point.
But you're totally fair.
And then someone to take care of me. That's a hard one. Maybe Mariah.
It's because I'm old. It's fine.
Okay, maybe Mariah. You could put me on like a shelf or something. Remind me, like I'm right there.
I can go next. I would, all I could think of when you said that was the time that Mel said she was going to go fry an egg in the middle of our meeting. So I would not want Mel to take care of me because I would honestly just be afraid that if she got hungry, it'd be all she wrote, if you catch
Eat
my
you.
drift. Not for any other reason other than that seems to be her go-to when she gets hungry is frying an egg. Um, Somebody to take care of me. I don't know. I feel like so I hear what you're saying, Lauren, about Charisma. Like she's a little crazy. I hear that. But I also feel like if Charisma was taking care of me as an egg, I'd have a great time. So I think I would want Charisma to take care of me because I think it would just be a lot of fun. Like, yeah, there are some inherent risks. She might drop me, like, sure, but it'll be a really fun time.
Can I just say that my fiance just said that, yeah, you probably wouldn't be able to take care of anybody.
So I made the wrong choice, is what I hear you saying.
And he's over here laughing like this is funny. Like, excuse me? I guess I'll go next. So who wouldn't take care of me? I don't know. I'm kind of scared of Riley. I feel like Riley would probably drop me. So no to Riley. Yes to Mel, because I feel like Mel is very motherly, and if she knew that it was me and the egg, she would put me in like a little bassinet and like rock me to sleep every night. So I think I'd be fine.
Put a little hat on you.
I'll play all the new Jamaican remixes to Bad Bunny song that I'll play for you later.
Although, here's the problem with Mel. We all know that Mel gets to the point where she just wants those kids out. So I'm just make sure you don't overstay your welcome with Mel or she's kicking you out. Just saying.
I can go. So I think I would, I, my first thought is, well, duh, Mariah, she's the mom of the team. Um, and she takes care of Lola and she does a really good job. So that's kind of my first initial thought. Um, who I don't know. Who I wouldn't want taking care of me. I mean, part of me, I mean, Mariah brings up a really good point that Mel's just gonna fry me if she's hungry. And so, but I also see that Mel she does have that motherly side. Um, mm, I don't know.
It's gonna be Lauren. Lauren's gonna forget you somewhere.
I All right, so Mel, you're not going with Lauren's not watching you. Who
I
is
have
watching?
no object permanence. If I
I'm
can't
not,
see something, it doesn't
Lauren
exist.
is not watching me, period. Because if it's
Okay.
not in an email or a text message, she's gonna forget my ass.
I don't
So
even
we're
read
not
your
going with
guys'
Lauren
text
at all.
messages.
We're not exactly. So we're not gonna go with Lauren. I would do Mariah if she has to, because Mariah pays a lot of attention to Lola and stuff. The same reasons. Lauren is a no. In fact, I would go with anybody except Lauren.
You know what though? She owns it though. She is like, yeah, no, don't. I will forget you.
I can listen, it's my object permanence is so bad, I can keep Oreos in a cabinet, never eat them because I just forget they're there.
Who else?
I'll go next. Okay, so Laura would probably forget. I could imagine myself being in her bag, but she forgot me in her bag. And then she'd probably go in and crush me. And then I feel like the person that would take care of me is probably Mariah would put me like on a little pillow and just leave me there.
You're warming my cold black soul today that I would take such good care of you. And I would 100%.
Sorry, Lauren. I'm gonna hop on the bandwagon. I think I would just be forgotten the movie theater from all your movie theater adventures recently. I feel like I'd be left there with all like the popcorn on the floor and such. I think I'd give myself to Mel though. She's always juggling a lot and she's handling it all, so I think she could be able to juggle me. Is there a risk I fall? Yeah, but there's always a risk, you know?
Michelle. Oh, go ahead, Lauren. Sorry.
I'd like to just help Mariah with her ego just a moment that I didn't say Mariah because I just want you guys to know she forgets me all the time.
Object permanence goes both ways, just saying.
I would say that um I think Mel might just kind of leave me cracked and like, all right, let's put her on the stove. Um, and I don't know. I think I'm torn between like the who would take care of me. I think I'm between Mindy and Mariah. I guess you guys could split custody.
Perfect. We'll have joint custody, visitation rights, and everything. All right. Well, thank you all. That was fun. And I don't know. I feel like Mel, we're all gonna have to come over for fried eggs one day. I feel like it's a thing.
I,
Um,
I could see Mel at some point just looking at you and being like, listen, we gotta eat. Sorry, I gotta cook something. We gotta eat.
and it's so funny because I hadn't thought of that, and then Mariah said it, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be eaten. And it kind of swayed my thought process. So
It's
there
funny.
we are.
That was the first thing that came to mind before Mariah even said anything. And I'm like, oh.
Well, there we are. All right. So Connecticut has been looking at a systems change movement called QPI, Quality Parenting Initiative, for about 5 years now. The interesting part about QPI is that it really is embedded in the work that is done here at Family and Children's Aid through TFC and FFT. And so you as staff and you as foster parents have always been doing it, even before QPI became a thing. But I think that we were probably all remiss in not pointing it out because my understanding is that the language is being used at ACRs, it's being used in DCF treatment plans, and so I think that today we should really just talk about some of that language so that we can start incorporating it and we're kind of like hip and cool, right? We're the teenagers of the foster care world. And so the core belief of QPI is that every child deserves excellent parenting every day. And at Family and Children's Aid, that has been a core belief since the foster care program started. And it is something that we all strive for, we being the foster parents as well, every day. Truly see that everybody in this Zoom room and everybody who's watching this goes above and beyond on a daily basis and gives more than 100% every day. And so that core belief is in practice 100 times over. But I'm curious if you had to define or you had to give one word or two words of what excellent parenting means to you, what would you say?
I have two words: patience and understanding.
Love it.
I was also going to do patience. I know it's not one word, but I was going to say like roll with the punches as the other statement or phrase.
Phrase. I love it.
I
Two
would say
words.
give
Oh, sorry.
grace.
Mariah, go
Two
ahead.
words is hard for me, but I would say intentional and present.
Mm.
I was gonna say patience and time, but presence is a good one.
What's the class that we've taken, I've taken multiple times, where the two words that come to mind is kindness and strength, where it's the oh, what's the class? Where it teaches you to be, it's to be bigger, kinder, wiser, and strong. Which class is that?
That's shoot, I can't think of what it is right now.
I can't
It's
think
the
of it either.
This is why Lauren can't have an egg.
Mindy, it's the parenting
Gosh.
class for younger kids.
Is it Risking Connections or is it
No,
the
Short name. I'm so sorry that I've done this.
it's okay. It's gonna come to us, but that's I I like that, Lauren.
okay. I can't even think of the program name that I'm thinking it's affiliated with now. Cool. Great. So clearly Lauren, Mariah, and I are all older than Dora. So moving on from that. Dora, this is what happens when you get old.
Me too, me too.
Why did I just get thrown under that bus?
So we have what characteristics that go into this excellent parenting that goes with, QPI. Mariah, I think it just came to your head because I see you typing. So, okay. And so imagine if we took the foster care system and reorganized it around excellent parenting, as opposed to organizing it around legal dates or court dates. And so and again, that is what FFT really does. It strives to reorganize around excellent parenting. It measures success through relationships. And so let's talk about how FFT already does that. FFT looks at relationships for this youth. Tell me about all the different relationships FFT looks at. For the youth. Sorry, I stopped halfway.
Well,
The
I think
team measure. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Mel. Oh, okay. I would say right out the gate, one of the ways that FFT does that is because foster parents are a part of the treatment. So right out the gate, that relationship is included from the jump in the treatment with the FFT program. There are others, but that's one.
Mel.
We also look at the bio parents relationship and how that connection also circle back to how the youth will act and respond in the home with new parents.
Absolutely. And so from the bat, we're including the two most important caregivers to this youth, right? And we know one of the other principles of QPI is that it needs to be grounded in research. It needs to be grounded in science. Well, science shows that when the caregivers can work together, that there's more success. So talk to me about how we promote the caregivers and the the two sets of caregivers, so the bio resources and the foster care resources working together. Maybe it's and that sounds like I'm saying they have to meet up and have coffee. And there's a spectrum, right? So let's talk about all the different things along that spectrum.
Well, I think there are certainly situations in which bio parents and foster parents can communicate directly, but in instances where that can't happen, like recently with one of our cases, Mel's focus is on really just meeting with bio parent to talk through how they can reinforce during their visits the stability in the foster home. So how can they do what they can do during their visits to be included in that process of achieving stability in the foster home?
Mariah, thank you for that example. Mel, I'm actually going to throw you under the bus a little bit here. Can you talk a little bit about how you have those conversations, some of the things you might say to a bio resource in helping to promote that when they're having the visits?
And you're talking about promoting the idea of foster care or their kids, the youth being in care?
I'm talking about, Mariah said that you're trying to help promote the stability, right? And so them,
Yes.
promoting the rules, supporting it, things of that nature. So yeah.
Well, we tie in both because a lot of times, a lot of what you see with the youth is a reflect of what they've experienced with the bio family. Sorry. And then so you have that. And like I'm dealing with families now, I try to get them to understand both. I try to get them to understand that how you were with the youth is the reason why we have some of these behaviors. I try to have them change a lot of how they were with the youth in whether that be during visitation. So like perfect example, if you have a caregiver who was a yeller or a screamer or a cursor, and these are the things that they did with the youth, and now the youth is having the same behaviors in the foster home, just to kind of reconstruct how they do their visits, have conversations around better ways to communicate, better ways to talk to, how to instill, make the youth feel better about themselves, how to encourage them in conversation, so that way it plays out also in the foster home. And like Mariah said, sometimes they can have that direct communication, whether that be the foster parent can communicate with the bio family. That all depends on how they feel, their level of comfortability, or when we're getting to a place of reunification.
I love that. And so again, one of the, this first principle, that excellent parenting and meaningful relationships, Mel, you just gave such an illustration of how do we enhance a meaningful relationship, right? We know that bio parents love their youth. We know that they are doing the best they can at that moment. And how can we provide tools to build a more meaningful relationship with everybody on the team? And so thank you for illustrating how FFT is already doing QPI work and how the bio parents can continue to support that. How the foster parents can continue to support that, how the bio parents can continue to build on it. And even though we haven't been calling it QPI, we've been doing it, right?
And that's why also, just to add, Mindy, that's why
Please.
the two words I said was giving grace, is because a lot of times as foster parents, you have to understand all the things that took place in the home prior to it, and having to give the bio parents some grace, so that you can foster a better relationship between the youth and bio parents.
And Mel, that's such a great point. And I mean, for me, it's grace goes both ways. Actually, grace goes in a full circle because everybody deserves grace. The foster parents deserve grace as well. They're going to have bad days. As workers, we deserve grace too. Maybe we're not feeling 100%, or we've had something that has happened in our personal life, and even though we're still working, it has us a little bit off of our game. And same thing with DCF, right? So I think grace is a full circle. And so yes, meaningful relationships and excellent parenting deserves grace, and it's a teamwork approach. When somebody is having an off day, that there's other team members, right? So the second principle of QPI is that it needs to be research informed practice. And FFT checks that box big time. So FFT is an evidence-based model. What does that mean?
Marcus, I cannot go upstairs and I'm working. Okay? So you have to come.
Mel's taking care of her egg. Yeah, go ahead, Mariah.
I was gonna say an evidence-based model. I'm summarizing something that would take a long time to explain, but it is essentially a model that has had to prove with data that it is effective. That is essentially what an evidence-based model is.
Yeah. So it had to do that research. It had to multiple times over, right, show that it has productive outcomes. And so we know FFT checks that box. But if we go to an even more case level and a more daily level, let's talk about the feedback, the data that you guys are getting after sessions. What does that look like? And how does that inform your practice?
The data we get in sessions are surveys we give foster parents and sometimes the youth, depending on their age. And it helps give the clinician feedback on how they're doing. And it helps me as a clinician to adapt the next session and sessions going forward to better fit the family. Because an evidence-based model is a very complicated thing and there are many details to it, but it still is something that can be adapted to each family. And those surveys really help us to further adapt as we work alongside the family.
Yeah. So the session impact scales, right? They're not just checking the FFT box, they're checking a QPI box too. And so again, something that we've been doing that fits into this QPI model, and without realizing it. And I think, Riley, you just brought up a really good point that yes, it's evidence-based, and yes, it's complicated, and yes, there are rules and guidelines and all these things that we have to do, but it's still not a one size fits all, right? There's still room to adapt to fit the needs of that individual. I want to say client, but in this sense, the client is a family system, right? Does that make sense? Okay? Sorry, I always say client, and then I realize that I need to expand when I'm talking about FFT. And the last piece of QPI, that last principle, is that those most affected should lead the change. And I kind of just gave it away, but who's the client? Who should be informing your practice? Riley gave it away too.
The whole family.
Yeah.
The foster parent, the bio family, the whole full circle, the circle, the whole family relationship.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so I feel like everything we've talked about illustrates that FFT is using the bio parent, the youth, the foster family to inform how the treatment goes. Is that an accurate assumption or an accurate deduction? Yeah. My question to you guys is, when you're getting feedback that differs from your plan or more so from DCF's plan, how does that get worked out? Right? Because we're saying that this family system should drive the treatment. Awesome. My living room just started leaking again. Very cool.
It's crazy because
Like,
the leak for whatever reason is always going to be loud because you're being aware of it. So now it's like if it's like a little drop, you can
I literally was like, why does it sound like someone's peeing in my house? I'm the only one here. No, no. And I look up and there it is. Amazing. Cool. Um, sorry for the distraction. I don't even remember what I was asking.
I, I will attempt to help you regroup. Although I too am shocked about your living room ceiling dripping again. You were asking how it sounded like where you were going was essentially, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but how we navigate things when there might be a disparity around what that treatment system, what that family system thinks should transpire moving forward versus sometimes what DCF or other systems think should be going on. Is
And
that
to answer that,
I appreciate. Thank you.
I put all the big dogs on the same email. And big dogs meaning Mindy, Mariah, on the same email because sometimes how we feel may not be how they feel. And if we're advocating for the family and their needs, sometimes that means we have to cause a ruckus. And that's just what we do. I know for FFT and FCA is sometimes we just have to cause a ruckus because we need to make sure that their needs are being met and however that is and however we can help that get there. And if that means putting all the gangsters on one email, that's just what we have to do. But we try to advocate for their needs.
Listen, I love that you referred to us as the big dogs. That's phenomenal.
And
Number two,
gangsters.
and gangsters. I'm here for it. So here for it. And I think, Mel, subsequent to that, what I then oftentimes try to do is reground everybody around we're all on the same page here. Whether or not we agree or disagree, we all want what's best for this child, for this family, for this system. And that tends to help refocus everybody, right? When we bring it back to that piece that you're speaking about specifically, Mindy, that it's the family, the youth, the foster parents, bio parents that are really informing treatment, bringing it back to that place often supports everybody getting on the same page. Although, Mel, to your point, it is sometimes not without bumps or hurdles, but that is typically what helps.
Yeah. And I thank you both. I'm gonna have to practice like my gangsta walk. It's a little, yeah, it's out of date.
Listen, you don't got the
Um,
walk down pack, but the email you got it down pack. I don't know what you be throwing in there. I don't know if when you start your thing off, it's like a little AK-47 at the end of the period, and people just be like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? But the moral to the story is you may not have the walk, but you sure do have the email.
I think that's a compliment, so I'm going to say thank you. I'm gonna take it that way. So I guess, my question is now having a little bit of background on QPI, do we feel like there's anybody missing? Do we feel like from the FFT perspective, we are missing anybody to help with these cases?
I think their treatment team, whether that be their outpatient therapy, and that goes for all parties. Foster parents sometimes have their own therapists. Um, you have bio families who also have their therapists as well. They all provide input in terms of we're going to look at research and science. All of that all plays a part. Whomever their providers are, whether that be the school, their YMCAs for the youth, everybody's a part of that team and trying to make sure that these clients' needs are all met. And sometimes they see things that we don't see. So their input is all necessary in making sure that everybody's in a good place.
Any other thoughts?
I do feel like, and this is something that I think Talia, Riley, Charisma, Mel specifically will agree with. I think we've really tried within the last several months to increase that engagement with bio parents from the jump, and have really tried to work harder to include them in whatever capacity, right? Because there are some situations legally because of things that are outstanding, et cetera, where there are limits to how engaged they can be. But I think we've just made a stronger effort to include them in however they can, even if it's not 100% the way we would love to see it, but doing that in the way that they can. And I think that's something it's good that we're already doing that.
I know that internally sometimes we say like, hey, we are FFTing, the poop out of this. And so I would love to start having us include we're QPIing the poop out of this too, because I think again, they go hand in hand, and we have been QPIing things without realizing it. And so foster parents, bio parents, FCA staff, I encourage us to start using this QPI terminology with us, and integrating it, because it is a seamless fit with the FFT work you're doing. And and we deserve the credit. Everybody that is working with these youth deserves the credit for the great work we're doing in building these relationships and building support around the youth. So with that, we're going to wrap up. I'm going to go get a bucket for my living room, and we'll see you next month.